Today, we have Chris Kenny with Dynalink to discuss one company for all your customer needs. Thank you, Chris.
Well, thank you and welcome. My name is Chris Kenny. I'm with Dynalink Communications, and as somebody said, we are the only phone company you'll ever need. So this is Dynalink. I'm going to talk fast. I'm going to go through this presentation very fast because I know nobody wants to sit there and just watch somebody in a monotone voice get bored. So this is going to go fast. And if you have any questions, by all means, throw them in there. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Okay. Who is Dynalink Communications? Well, this is us. We're a switchless reseller. So what we do is provide customer service and support, delivering over the billion-dollar network. So we don't have a network, we don't have facilities. We are a complete reseller. So everything we have is resold through all the major companies. And this year we are now celebrating 20 years in business, which is actually pretty cool. One of the good things that we have is that we have team longevity. Some of our employees have been with us 10 to 15 years. I'm going to talk later on about our mobile product, and our two first hires when we first started mobile over 10 years ago are still with us. We value our customers. So every customer gets an escalation list from a manager up to the CEO of the company. Every customer gets a dedicated account team for each customer. So they know who to call when they need something. Our retention rates are well over 90% for all of our services, and it's our people. That's the reason why your customers will stay with Dynalink. So what do we actually offer? Simple. Everything. We do mobility, which is cell phones, tablets, iPads, wireless backup, never lose service, POTS over wireless, IoT, data services, hosted UCaaS and VoIP, SIP, lowest pricing in the industry. And here's our SIP services. So this is kind of cool. So we have not lost a deal on price on SIP. We just lowered our SIP pricing again because we want to generate some fast revenue in 2025. So instead of the $199 price that we did have, we have now lowered it to $149. So you get 23 full channels, a block of 20 DIDs, fast installation, and we can manage the failover management. If you want an ad train, it's an additional $50 a month. We actually have another ad train where if you want to be fancy and you want to have 2 internet connections for complete redundancy, it's an extra $75. That's still just about $200, which is very inexpensive. We also have SIP trunks, $12 a trunk, 3,000 nationwide minutes, and you can use any of our wireless products for a complete small business solution. And then you can add a Grandstream device for any analog handoff that you want. Here's the cool thing about these is that both of these products is that we're offering a 200% spiff for any of them sold. So you get 200% MRC spiff for any of these products sold. Our UCaaS product. UCaaS, everybody knows about. Everybody has UCaaS. Everybody talks about it. When I was down for the event down in Louisville, there were, I believe, 20 people in the room. 18 of them were providing UCaaS. So we have to provide it. We do exactly what everybody else does. One of the things that differentiate us from everybody else is that we have fully staffed customer service, but we have customizable plans. If you ask, we can design a plan for your specific customer. And also, because of the fact we have data, backup, cellular, and UCaaS, you can get them all under one customer service number, especially for your small applications. We have a lot of temporary businesses, such as construction companies where they need UCaaS for 6 months and they need an internet connection for 6 months. Put in an unlimited plan, put in the UCaaS, turn it up for 6 months. When the job is done, turn it off, and then they're ready again, start it back up again. That allows the flexibility so that they're not tied into a 3 or 4 year term contract. As long as they purchase the equipment, I don't care. You can do a 1 year term, you can do a 6 month term. These are great because you turn them on and turn them off when needed. Some of these customers have had the same location turned on for 18, 24 months. They'll turn it off and then they'll reactivate it again. All of our features are included in the basic plan, call recording, Microsoft integration like everybody else. We can also do on-site installation. And again, you can also travel with the UCaaS on your smart device. Mobility. So everybody knows about this. This is where the future is. From cell phones to tablets to IoT, this is the most neglected and the stickiest part of telecom. If you're not selling mobility, you're doing yourself a disservice because you're missing out on a lot of revenue. Mobility plans, you're saving 20 to 30% off your existing wireless provider. You're going to utilize AT&T's full 5G LTE network. This is just for cell phones, tablets, and iPads. I only have AT&T. I do not have Verizon. For this service, it's all over AT&T. There's no customer overage fees because we're managing the plans. You'll get a lot of times where you have a customer that has 300 devices. They'll say, well, we have unlimited. We don't have to worry about it. But most of your customers are going to use less than 1 to 2 gig. We just did one for one of your partners, and the savings on it on a $30,000 invoice was approximately 22%. We did another one for, again, one of your partners down in Louisville, and this customer had never had anybody look at his bill. He was paying for an unlimited plan on every one of his devices, where most of his devices were using less than 2 gigs. $40,000 in billing, about 42% savings. Okay. There's a lot of fat in these wireless bills. Also, once you get above 100 devices, you'll find out that a lot of these bills, a lot of these customers, they don't realize they have zero usage devices. We go in there and help clean it up for them, find out where the BS charges are, and clean up all the unnecessary information. We also have customized billing. You'll find that when you ask a customer and say, hey, what are you doing for wireless? And they go, oh, well, I've got 15 different bills because AT&T or Verizon cannot break it out. We can. We can give you one bill, and we can break it up with multiple cost centers. That is huge for many customers. Even customers we've had existing for years still come to us and go, hey, can you guys do cost centers? Of course we can. Cost centers are a huge difference for customers because that's how you break up the different tax structures, and it helps them out in their accounting department. Initially, the accounting departments hate us because we force every single device to have a name. After that's done, the accounting departments love us because everything is clean. Hey, we know that Bob left the company 6 months ago. Why are we still paying for his phone? Okay, so if they have AT&T, it is a billing change. If they have Verizon, they have to switch to AT&T. Correct. That is 100% true. It is literally on AT&T's network. You go from the retail side of the house over to wholesale. Verizon, it used to be a little bit more difficult, which means that you had to do a lot of SIM card swapping. Now most devices have an eSIM on them, so it really is going from. We set up a. You'll finally get a text message. They need a Wi-Fi connection. Download the eSIM, and you go from AT&T's network over to Verizon. It's almost as simple as back in the day where I used to do the POTS line conversions, like when you used to switch over POTS lines from Verizon or from AT&T over to a reseller like us. And can they secure the phones through Dynalink? Absolutely. Everything is done through us. We actually buy all of our phones and devices. We offer financing. We buy everything through AT&T. So everything comes out right out of the center in Texas. We will set up phones with voicemail, bookmarks, passwords. It's called kitting. We have a center. My girls who do this hate me because we offer it a lot, and they hate when we do this. One of our large customers had 1,000 devices, and they were all the push-to-talk devices. And I don't know if you know about how the push-to-talk still work, or if you're old like me, you can tell by the snow on the roof, whatever's left anyway. You used to have to take when you got the phone, you used to have to take the battery and put it into the phone, and then you put the back on, and then you power it up. That's the way the push-to-talk devices are, and this customer had 1,000 of them. My girls were not happy with me. The customer loved us, but they were not happy with me. We're also part of the Automated Device Enrollment Program, ADE, with Apple, which is also called the old DEP program. So if you ever have a customer and they say, oh, we gave somebody a phone and then they put their password in, now it's locked and we can't get it out because they put their own Apple ID in and they won't give us the password because we fired them. Believe it or not, that happens quite a lot. If you're enrolled in the Automated Device Enrollment Program, the device belongs to the company as opposed to the person. So when they do have those instances where the person leaves, you can use that and you can pull them out, and then you can get your phone back usable again. Because without an Apple ID, the phone is not used. All right, got another question.
Yep.
Do you pay spiffs on cellular plans? What are the term requirements? Boy, you're just cheating on these questions. I haven't even gotten to spiffs or anything else. So if you scroll down a little bit, I showed everything because, again, I want to move a little bit fast with these. All of our plans are month-to-month agreements. So we offer and say, hey, got nothing to lose. Try Dynalink. One of our oldest customers who's still with us, he's got not a lot of phones, got about 40 phones. He actually said to me on the call, he says, what happens if you stink? Well, that's a valid question. What happens if we stink? No matter whether you have 50 phones or you have 500 phones, okay? When you sign on with Dynalink, it takes roughly 2 weeks to go from AT&T retail to AT&T wholesale, okay? So when the customer asks me and says, what happens if you stink? Well, it's simple. If we stink, it'll take you 2 weeks to come over. It'll take you 2 weeks to go back. So we're only going to stink for 2 weeks. The customer's still on us 10 years later. So we have a 98% retention rate on all of our wireless. And the spiff that we have is for all cell phones, tablets, iPads. We offer a 50% MRC spiff. So if your customer's spending $1,000 next month, boom, get a $500 spiff. Plus, of course, because this is wireless, you get a nice residual. So it's beautiful. Okay. Residuals are great. And that's something that you're not getting right now. Also, what we offer for all of our customers is that they have two choices, or they can use a hybrid of it. They can go onto our portal and they can manage everything themselves, just like they have right now. Our portal is a little bit easier. We can create customized reports for them. It's a little bit nicer than the AT&T and Verizon portals just because we designed it a little bit better, and it's still evolving. So as customers give us feedback, we change things based on what they need. Or you could do what we love to do, and that is our folks will act as their in-house wireless team. And what that does for our team and also for your customers is that by us acting as the in-house wireless team, is that it's a lot harder to leave. If you're sitting behind a screen and you're just looking at it going, well, you know what? I'm unhappy with AT&T and somebody else came in, let me take a look at it. And they'll do that. But if you're talking to Zareen or Hindi or Chloe or Diane, if you're talking to these people constantly, what you'll probably do is you'll say, hey, you know what? I got a bid from a competitor. Can you take a look at it? And what we usually do, we'll match it or we'll beat it. And then we do lock them into a contract because that's what the other carriers do. By us offering a month-to-month agreement, it kind of gives that, hey, I'm so confident that we have a 98.5% retention rate on wireless that I'll give it to you for month to month. I've got nothing to lose. And I would say probably less than 10% of our wireless customers aren't on a contract. And those customers that are usually somebody who tried to renew. Customers can spend more than 2 times of their TDM cost. As TDM costs has decreased, wireless costs have increased. So as you've seen with UCaaS has the bottom has fallen out. It's a race to the bottom. I mean, I've seen some crazy pricing, and I'm sure you guys have too. Is you've seen pricing that has dropped way low on it. As you've seen that, wireless costs have slowly increased. Even though you have unlimited plans and everything else, wireless costs have increased. Wireless services has been dumped on the IT department. They don't have the time to handle it. They're just saying, here, you know what? Wireless is similar IT. You handle it. And they don't want to. It's a pain in the neck. People don't want to deal with moving plans around because they'll just sign up with an unlimited plan. They don't have time to figure it out. We move the plans around, and that keeps the costs low. For those of you who never dealt with wireless, there's no trouble tickets. Think about it from your own experience. If you have your cell phone, if you have an Apple or you have a Samsung, you're not calling AT&T or Verizon for a problem. You're contacting Apple. I mean, I've done that personally for my own business. I've never contacted AT&T. I've never contacted Verizon for anything. I've only gone to Apple and said, hey, I got a problem with the device, and find out what the device is. 95% of the time it's the device. There are rare instances where, yeah, the SIM fails or the eSIM falls off. That's what our customer service is there for. But you'll find out that every time a customer calls, it's great because when they call, it's usually adding services, which is great for everybody. The cell phone is the most important means of communication, but yet when you look at UCaaS, there's a million carriers out there. When you look at data, there's a lot of regional companies that have fiber, but there's also the big companies out there. There's 5 or 6 major providers that do data services. We provide for them. You know, we sell Lumen, we sell AT&T, Verizon, Brightspeed. Now Frontier's going back into Verizon. Okay, there are multiple choices if you want to buy data services. You want to buy cable. Well, you've got Fios, you've got cable, you've got AT&T Broadband 2, the AIA product. Cell phone, you have AT&T and Verizon. I know people say T-Mobile, but T-Mobile is not a big percentage of it. When you ask people who they're using for wireless, you're going to find 90% of them on businesses are going to use AT&T or Verizon. It's only 2 carriers that are managing it. If you have a 50% chance of keeping your customer, how much customer service are you really going to provide? It's not the network. I'm not going to strap on a butt set and build a 5G tower. It's the customer service and support that's lacking with these customers. That's what they get frustrated about. Who do I call when I have a problem? What's the issue? You know, when I'm standing up here and I'm saying, hey, you can call me. I've been with Dynalink for 20 years. Okay. I'm stable. A lot of times you'll see how many reps have you had in the last 6 months? Oh, I've had 5. You know, they keep changing reps on me. You're not going to find that at Dynalink. Also, personalized attention. Each Dynalink customer is assigned a representative to handle their needs. Wireless backup. If you guys are not selling this, this is the easiest way to keep yourself sane. If you have multiple locations, we can provide a backup service using 5G or LTE, depending on what's available, okay? And use this for all of your UCaaS, your SIP, even any regular voice services, any data services. We have a haircutting place that has cable, UCaaS, and wireless, because you know what the biggest part of their business is that they can't go without? The biggest problem they have, credit card machines. If that credit card machine goes down, they're out of business. Nobody's coming in there with cash to pay for a haircut. Everybody uses a credit card for everything. So by putting something as simple as you can either use our router or you can get your own router, you can get wireless backup, and plans are cheap. They start at $10 for multi-locations. And we got another question. What happens if a customer has time left of the Verizon contract with AT&T or Verizon? Very simple. There are two ways to look at it, and we've had both of them done. Some customers will say, I'm not paying any termination fees. Okay, none. Well, you know what? Keep your AT&T or Verizon for now. Start with Dynalink. As the phones get out of contract, you can slide them over. We've had plenty of customers do that because they said they don't want to pay anything. Other customers have said, hey, you know what? The ROI is only 90 days. It's worth it for me to come over, and they'll pay the termination fee. Also, because the spiff that we have, we could do a share of it. So let's say you have a customer that's spending $10,000 in wireless, which is, you say, oh, that's a big bill. It's really not. A lot of businesses will spend $5,000 to $10,000. Our average customer spends over $5,000 on their wireless. Your customer spends $10,000 in wireless, and let's say they owe $6,000. You could say, you know what? My spiff is $5,000. Give them half, and I'll take the other half. You can do that too. We have a lot of ways that we can work on things. And depending on the size of the customer, we might either get, if it's a Verizon customer, we might get AT&T to throw some money, or if it's a big enough customer, we might throw some money ourselves at it. So it just depends on each customer. Best way to do is ask. And I'm happy to answer. All right. Whoops. I went backwards. Sorry, guys. Hit the button too fast. Fixed wireless. Simple and easy. These are the true unlimited plans, okay? These are true unlimited. Verizon has two flavors, 100 meg and a 200 meg. There's no gig limit. People keep asking and say, well, no, there's no gig limit. Use as much as you want, all right? You want to use a terabyte, go right ahead. Use as many as you want. Verizon has not put a limit on it. You can get all of these do require 5G routers, okay? If they don't have a 5G router, we have very inexpensive gateways. Verizon has a $450 gateway. It's got external antennas. We've had some great success for it. It's a gateway, though. It's not designed to be a true router. Fast installation, we usually have these in stock. If a person orders, let's say today, I don't know where all you guys are calling from. In New York, it's almost 1 o'clock. If you get it to me by 2, typically we can have it shipped out same day. All right. AT&T is a little bit cheaper. AT&T is $85. They have no cap on speed. Use as much as you can. They have no cap on data. Use as much data as you want. Their gateway is $350. Same exact thing. Fast installation, you get it to me by 2 o'clock. Typically, we can ship out same day. And we have a full selection of 5G routers. POTS over wireless. POTS are going away, and are your customers ready? Everybody knows that POTS is gone. Okay, people don't want to deal with it. All the carriers have been approved to eliminate it. And for those of you outside of New York, which has gotten nasty, I've had some customers in California tell me that they're looking at $350 for a POTS line. One customer said they had 5 POTS lines in Florida, and their bill was $1,000 for 5 POTS lines. I mean, this has just gotten ludicrous. POTS pricing has increased 10 times over the last few years. If you have a customer that has a problem, trying to repair it is next to impossible because the fact that it's just there's not enough copper. Repair times have increased due to lack of facilities. I remember we have a car dealership. We had 5 car dealerships that were on the West Side Highway, and Verizon, as they were going through repairing the lines, it was almost in a line. They had 2 lines down. One car dealership would be fixed, and the next day, the next car dealership would go down. And it kept going on until we had the 5th dealership. Turns out they were stealing the fares from the other dealership and not realizing it. They were on the same thing. And as funny as that sounds, it is true, and it does happen. All right. POTS over wireless is the answer. It runs on its own wireless service. It does have a battery backup. It's used for voice, elevator, fire and burglar alarms, credit cards, everything else too. It does not need an internet connection. It runs on its own. Plans are as low as $38 per line with free installation. The equipment is certified by the LAFD and the NYFD. So anybody who knows how difficult it is to get the certification, the equipment is good. Installation takes about 2 weeks. I know a lot of other carriers, it does take a little bit longer. Now, for those of you who don't know what this is, there's been a lot of buzzwords. What is the Internet of Things? Internet of Things is kind of cool. IoT is all around us, all right? It's really neat because it's from everything. And I use these because these are my own real examples. If you have an air fryer, Your air fryer is connected to your phone. You can do everything through IoT. That's considered IoT, the Internet of Things. I can start up my air fryer from here. My shower, I can turn it on and off through my phone, or I can do it through Alexa as well. That's Internet of Things. We have one city we lost, another one we're bidding on. There, we're putting SIM cards into the garbage cans with detection levels on them that show how full they are, so that the city knows to go empty them. One, we lost the bid. We lost it to AT&T actually, and the other one we're in the process on it, and we're beating AT&T, so that's pretty good for us too. I also have another one where we're bidding on for refrigeration units, where the refrigerator says tells the temperature on it. So for those large multi-location companies that own multiple big refrigerators, they know if the temperature of the refrigerator increases at all, they know there's a problem with it and they can go fix it. Some of them are based on, well, we're going to lose a lot of food in the refrigerator, or other ones are, hey, you know what? If somebody comes in and we're not at the right temperature, we're going to get fined. IoT is the future. This is going to improve. You can use wireless technology for everything. There are also companies right now. We also got some bids out there where they're putting them in the electric chargers at hotels, where you know how they have those little electric charging stations at hotels. They have to know how much to charge. Those are done through IoT. The beauty about these are we're sending the SIMs live and active. We have one customer right now that started off with 5 devices. He's now up to 350 devices. He's providing at-home nursing care with tablets. He bought his own tablets. He found them for 150 bucks. We sent him a stack of 100 SIM cards, and they're all live. When he plugs them in and they use 25K, and that is true, 25K, which is virtually connecting to the tower and downloading, a couple things. As soon as they connect, he's automatically billed. But until then, he just has a stack of SIM cards sitting in his desk, and they're all ready to use. So no calling up and saying, hey, I need this active, I need this active. They're all done and they're all set up. These are all month-to-month, 1-year and 2-year plans. The reason why we have 1 and 2 and 3-year plans on these is because some of these are larger applications, 500,000 devices, and the plan's at $7. Sometimes you got to get a little bit lower. Stickiness is because it's very difficult to swap out. You have a customer with 500 devices with eSIM, with these IoT SIMs in them. You're not so easy to rip them out and start over. It can be done, but it's a little bit more difficult. And we got a couple questions. All right, what is the minimum number of lines for POTS replacement? 1. It costs a little bit more and there is an installation, but the minimum number of lines is 1. And that's only because they do a truck roll, so it's going to cost a little bit more. The plan goes up to $45 for the 1 line, and the installation is $150. Again, it's still relatively inexpensive. If you're in the territories where POTS lines are $100, $200, your ROI is literally sometimes 1 month, sometimes 2, sometimes 3. The biggest is once it's done, and you don't have to worry about it. The POTS over wireless does come with a 3-year term because, again, there's an installation involved. Okay. All right, who uses us? And these are some cool companies that use us. I don't know why we do very well in the clothing industry, but we do have those 3 large ones. For those of you who are going to ask, and I know the question comes up usually every time, I cannot get discounts. My wife has asked me, even some of the people who work there have said they're not allowed to get discounts. But these are some of the cool companies that we have. We do have non-disclosures with 2 of them, so I can't say who they are, but one of them is, one of the Harvey Specter law firms in New York City. They're huge. They actually just merged with another bank, so another law firm. So they have gotten even bigger. They have approximately on SIP, I think they've got about 25 SIP PRIs. And we also have one of the largest privately held banks in the country. They are also a billion-dollar bank, and they use both our data services, and we're in the process of bidding on their backup wireless. So that's what they have. And that's one of those where I say backup wireless is very important. I don't know how many of you have been in the situation that I have where you're sitting there, you think everything's going great on a Friday, and then one of your large customers calls you up and says, oh, one of my locations is down, or we have a catastrophic issue in the area, and 2 or 3 or 4 of the locations are down. And you spend the whole weekend chasing to get the local RBOC to go out there and fix it. If you have backup, sometimes you'll find, especially now with 5G, is that the backup is faster than the primary. So if that customer does go down, you don't have to chase it because they're not in a rush to fix it. Our customer service will fix it in an appropriate amount of time and keep the customer updated. But it's not an emergency situation where I'm chasing going, we have this large bank down, or we have this law firm that's down, we need them right up right away. They're up and operational. Sometimes they don't even realize they're down, and we have to tell them they're down. All right. Now, why would I sell Dynalink? Which is a very good question. Glad I asked that question myself. So if you send a quote, pricing goes back in hours, not days. I know a lot of them will take weeks, months. No. You give a quote, I can sometimes get back the same quote within the hour. If it's a larger quote, it might take a day. If you need a lower price, ask. As you can see, big Steeler fan, big sports fan too. And I'll tell you something else because I'm going to share something later for those of you who are going to Vegas. I hate to lose, highly competitive. So tell me a rate. Say, hey, listen, I can get this rate. Can you match it or beat it? Let me know and I'll tell you. If you give me an invoice, I'll generate a true apples to apples proposal. And that's in an easy to use format. It comes in Adobe and it's very pretty. I think it's pretty. I designed it, so I'm hoping it's pretty. We only have a partner channel. 95% of our business comes from the partner channel. I don't have a direct side to fall back on, so I can't go, wow, we don't need this guy. We look at it as if we upset one of our partners, we lose 40 deals. Customers, listen, if I told you we didn't lose a customer, I'd be lying. Everybody loses customers. Whether it's our fault, whether it's the underlying provider's fault, anything can happen. We lose a customer, we lose them. All right. If we lose a partner, we lose multiple customers. So we value the partners. We go through you guys. We understand they're your customer. They're not our customer, they're your customer. We're there to service them the best we can. And if you have a suggestion, let us know. You also never have to deal with carriers. You can have 5 carriers, 6 carriers, 7 carriers. You can have as many as one on one invoice. You can have, AT&T, Verizon, Frontier, Brightspeed. You can have them all on one invoice. You only have to deal with one customer service number. And also, which is kind of cool, is if you ever call a customer service number, there's no hold. Even though they keep trying to say it, and my manager of repair keeps telling me, well, it'd make things more efficient. No, it gets answered by a live body. I hate that. Okay. And if you know anything about the way that management software is, such as MDM, that has gone up by 2 million in 2019. And I don't know why that's on there, but I think that's kind of funny anyway. And I did read it because some people don't. Why deal with carriers that don't value your relationships with your customers when you can deal with a carrier that does? Welcome to Dynalink Communications, the only phone company you'll ever need. And that's me. I'm Chris Kenny, and that is Chris at Dynalink.com. And